Welcome back, radio entrepreneurs, listeners, and fans. I'm producer Nathan Gobes, filling in for JDavis again. I'm excited to be back in the studio with the returning veteran, Peter Myerson, author and retired attorney. Welcome, Peter.
It's great to be here, Nathan. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you back with us. And here we are with another regular of our show, Marc Z of Marc Z Legal Staffing. Welcome back, Marc.
Thanks, Nathan. Great to be here. Great to have the presence of Peter Myerson here today, too.
It's great to see you, Marc, really.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah, we have a strong team here. And Marc, you always share some excellent topics with us. What do you want to talk about today?
So, Nathan, what I thought I would talk to about today with you and Peter are the benefits that the COVID protocols have helped with the disabled in terms of the employment world and in the legal world. As you know, obviously the legal world is a big focus of what our business does in addition to the employment space. And a lot of organizations, companies, and even the media really does not look at how COVID and technology changed not only the opportunities of people that are disabled, but also access to people that are disabled. And I say that, for example, in terms of employment, there are a lot of people that it's very, very difficult for them to commute into Boston. And they're really either talented attorneys, managers, executive legal assistants, and writers, so many talented people, but they happen to be disabled. And even though our country is coming to terms with access in terms of ramps and in terms of other different types of ways people can have access to buildings, by organizations and companies embracing technology and the ability to work remote, you have some talented people who have been able to re-enter opportunities because they no longer have to physically be in the office. And it started in a minor way with a lot of attorneys and writers who could work and then email their stories and then have to come into the office or whatever. But in a bigger picture, attorneys who did corporate work, who did real estate work, that didn't have to try cases, they could now work fully remote. Or people, attorneys or executives that got to a certain age in life, where now physically they're disabled in some way, now they'd still be able to do their job by not having to come in. And technology has helped them not only work from home, work efficiently, work remotely, but also enabled them not to have that kind of commute. So that's part one. In the employment world, the other thing we're finding is litigators are saying, it's really hurting our work, meaning trial attorneys, because we need to go back to the courtrooms. Cases are not being tried in court. Physically, they need to be. However, what's also happening, if you talk to litigators, a lot of the clients they represent, they're now able to have video meetings, whether it's conferences by WebEx, by Zoom, by meetings. They're able to do that with their clients, and it's all considered part of the legal process now without having to go to court. So again, if you're disabled in some way, you can be on, you don't have to a lot of times delay your case. You can have your cases heard promptly. They can be case progression, and you don't have to go through the difficult transportation journey a lot of times to get to court. And that's been a benefit that has been derived from COVID protocols and will really help going forward. These attorneys, these executives, these managers, or even staff in some way, as well as clients of firms and and organizations where you no longer have to have that commute, and they can be effective in terms of their jobs, have more job opportunities, or be able to be properly represented.
It's an interesting process. I mean, what I'm curious about is, you represent a gajillion law firms. Is there any cultural pushback from some of these firms today, wanting to have in-person meetings as opposed to, the Zoom, WebEx kind of meeting?
There's always a pushback, Peter, particularly on the smaller companies, smaller firm side. They really want to have people in the seats. Maybe their technology wasn't as strong. Maybe they're a smaller organization, so they really need everybody together, and they find it more effective. Now, I can tell you, even in my company, I do think it's more effective when everybody is together because of the synergies, and you can talk about all different kind of technology that can work, but at the end of the day, there's nothing like being in person because it's a spontaneity. It's all of a sudden somebody could think of something 1 second, and it could be the matter of, like in my business, could be a matter of, oh my goodness, Peter Myerson might be right for this fit in the moment. And our business is a business of moments and seconds, not only of being in touch with Peter Myerson. Maybe Peter Myerson is pending on something, we get him in time, or maybe we get an opening that is very time sensitive, and it's just brainstorming. And brainstorming, we can set meetings up like in my company we have, and we've got a great team that does it, but there's nothing that comes spontaneously, or people seeing something that's going to jog your memory by seeing something or what we're working on or whatever. It's just fact. That said, we've all learned to work remotely, in terms of doing that. And like my team is going forward, we always allowed it in some ways. Now on a regular basis can be working in the office and in the hybrid way. And I think that's what's happening now, that a lot of companies and firms and organizations are really saying it's no longer voluntary to come in office. We want you in the office 2 or 3 days a week, and they're setting them up. A lot of the younger, more junior or junior level executives or junior level parties, they really actually want to come back. Maybe not every day, but they want to be around people. They want to be able to have that synergistic approach. At the same time, they don't want to be there every day. And the smaller organizations, the smaller firms and the companies, they've had to adjust. They know now, it's not their first choice, but if we want to attract talent, if we want people to be happy and we want to be progressive, we're going to have to make those changes.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because it feels to me like it's creating a framework where people who are handicapped can more easily complain in some sense, if there's a push for people to come back as opposed to allowing them to work remotely.
Yeah. In many ways, it seems the remote work ability is having that option. It's almost a form of inclusion. As you said, there's many offices are building ramps, elevators, etc., just ways for people that have disabilities to access the building. Being able to work from home is, I think, is an extension of that. Even if they are able to get into the building, as you mentioned, Mark, there's the issue of the travel, just the amount of time that it may take somebody with a disability or an injury to get into the office. As many people know, when you get injured, maybe you break your leg or something like that, obviously there is some time that you'll need to stay, not be working because you need to recover. But then there's also some time where you may have a cast, but mentally, emotionally, whatever, you're able and ready to work, but it's still difficult to get into the office. So having remote capability really allows people to be more included.
Right. I will tell you, both of you, I mean, Nathan remembers this. I don't know, Peter, we haven't seen each other for a while, but I fully tore my Achilles last summer, as Nathan knows. And I literally, for about 6 weeks, I had to have my foot up 90% of the time, and I couldn't move. If I had to, and if I had to go into the office and do that commute, it would have probably taken an extra hour out of my day, in addition to the commute back and forth. So potentially could have been 3 hours a day. Instead, what I was fortunate to have a great spouse who teed things up, got me one of those breakfast type trays where I could have my laptop, my notebook, and really be productive business wise.
Mm-hmm.
And, as Nathan knows, when I would go and see my surgeon during times, it's like with my crutches, literally not being able to get up on the sidewalk, and just in terms of elevators, in terms of different things, it really gets you very in tune to what people have to go through, and realize how fortunate you are. And it's just unfortunate because you have a lot of talented people. And I think COVID with the protocols have helped. And what's going to happen now, because I've talked to several organizations, people who have been effective during COVID and working remotely, they're grandfathering them. They're not saying you have to come in the office. And then they're saying, if you have to come in the office, then it won't be on a regular basis. We'll make arrangements. We do want you to be in tune. And even the people that are handicapped, that normally would be working remotely now because for their job, they actually want to come in. They want people to see their face. They want to be able to be part of the team. So they don't want to do that every day, but so they'll do that too. So I think you're going to have a nice blend, which will work going forward.
Yeah,
It's a
definitely.
great topic.
I mean, I think we all hate to use the term during COVID, the silver lining, but there is some silver lining here that we've been able to find. Well, thank you, Marc. This has been another excellent Marc Z moment. If listeners or viewers want to get in touch with you, find out more about Marc Z Legal Staffing, or how you can help their firm fill any gaps they're experiencing during this great resignation, etc., what's the best way for them to reach you?
Well, first of all, Nathan, thank you very much for having me on the show. People can just Google Marc Z, M-A-R-C, and the letter Z. We come right up. Or marczlegal.com, MARCZLEGAL.com, or 617-338-1300.
Great. I want to thank you for joining the show. Of course, this was Marc Z of Marc Z Legal Staffing. Thanks, Marc.
Thank you, Nathan.
Great to see you, Marc.
And thank you, Peter, for joining. Peter Myerson. As we discussed offline or in a previous interview, you can find your book on Amazon. Is that correct?
You can find my book. All you have to do is either, do the search bar for Peter Myerson, and the book will come up, or you can do the name of the book, which is Heroes in a Different Time.
Great. Well, thank you for joining. Thank you both for being on Radio Entrepreneurs. We'll be back with more after this break.